Hello, welcome to the ranch. Most plants don't have an ancient history like this one does. It can almost make the hair on the back of your neck stand up with the prehistoric zen that this thing shows. This was around when the Roman Empire was in full swing. The ancient Greeks as well traveled across all of Europe, later on over to the Americas. This is one special rose. This is the Apothecary Rose. Traveled with people everywhere they went. It got planted. Empires, kingdoms, they rose and fell. Still, this plant traveled on through cuttings and divisions. It was in countries and kingdoms that no longer exist. But just what makes this so special? Why has this rose traveled the globe and we still have it? It's not necessarily easy to find, but it's not exactly rare either. I had 4 years before I could get one of these ancient plants that actually I felt confident had ties to like a medieval era at least. So let's take a closer look at the Apothecary Rose, why it deserves a place in gardens, and why in a food forest. Wouldn't you know, the last few days we've had some storms, and I finally get out here where I can film this for you, and I don't have any super intense blooms. But I guarantee you, those first day flowers, they're unreal. They're just amazing. I've never seen more intense color. The only thing I've seen is so much intense color on was water lilies. And I know it's not doing it justice, filming it here or taking pictures. I've tried and I can't capture it. But this is simply an extreme intense neon. It's just like nothing I've ever seen. And the fragrance is also spectacular. It took me 4 years to get this rose. I finally found one source that had one that I felt dated back to at least medieval times. And that place was always out of them every time I had checked to get one. So I went to checking online every day from the start of a new year. And when they finally had them in stock, I jumped on it and got one. I've never regretted it. This thing, I only get blooms for a couple weeks a year, but that color is intense. And that tie of this plant going back through the centuries, all through the medieval times, through countless wars, through plagues, this one was still here. This was the rose that they used in those ancient recipes, that they grew in the monasteries for medicinal purposes. And herbalists kept this plant around. Now it doesn't get the biggest hips because it was harvested for the petals and the fragrance. But here in a food forest, we're not going to feed yourself with this plant. It can be great for those medicinal teas and things like that. And the hips, they're not all that big. You can use them, but they're not like those rugoses. You know, those rugoses, maybe they make a lot more sense for a food forest for the most part, because you can use them great big hips. And who doesn't love nice big hips? But anyway, this is one you're going to use for the petals and that fragrance. It's nice when a little breeze comes along and you get a smell of that nice classic rose smell. And that historical tide. This plant, it makes a hair on the back of my neck stand up just thinking about the history this thing's had. And so I'm actually touching a piece of history. Seeing the color that they seen 500 and 1,000 years ago. A plant that was passed down because people found use for it. Divisions and cuttings, they traveled the whole globe. You can see here, it's growing in a fairly shady spot. It does bloom better if it gets a little more sun. It's a reasonably tough plant. Not as tough as those rugoses, but hardier than a lot of your hybrid teas, and a lot more bushy and full as well. It's great for pollinators. They enjoy the nectar. I find it to be a little bit more behaved than those rugoses. It's winter tough, summer heat tough. Just a good special plant. So you may just want to consider putting in your collection. Something that survived empires, fall and dries. Something that's been in medicinal gardens forever. Something that can be kind of rare and hard to find, but it's not altogether uncommon. And I suppose maybe places over in Europe and stuff, there's some big patches of them. But I'm awful proud of my little patch. I look so forward to it blooming in the early spring. And boy, when it does, like I said before, the color on this thing, it almost hurts your eyes. Well, I hope I helped you discover a plant that maybe you haven't heard of before. Maybe something to add a little splash of color to your food forest or just your garden, or you gain some knowledge on a almost forgotten plant that survived thousands of years. Well, I thank you much for your time. Appreciate you watching. I'm always up to new things. You know, check in on me from time to time.